Helen.
Hi, I'm Helen Monroe. I work at Bangor University Students' Union. My role officially is Student Volunteering Manager. So I manage our team up here, and we are located within the Students' Union. And I've been involved with the Wales network of student volunteering for quite some time, in and out, as it's been active over the years, and then most recently it's not been very active. But I've still tried to keep my hand in, and been working recently with Rosie and NUS to kind of help towards bringing Volunteering Week to more prominence. So, yeah.
Maybe?
I'm Lewis. I'm from University of Wales, Trinity St David on the Lancaster campus. I'm the Societies Officer on the Lancaster campus. I also chair our volunteering steering group, which works across all campuses. So I've done for the past 2 years, and we've slowly been implementing an accreditation scheme and things. So this is our first involvement with Student Volunteering Week, I think, as well, explicitly.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. And then Sam is in the room with us, so do you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Sam. I'm the Vice President of Education Welfare at USW, and it was easy for me to come into the office rather than be on the end of the computer because it's down the road. I haven't been involved in Volunteering Week as such, I don't think, but I'm keen to dip in and get some students involved in particular our Nightline service at the minute. So that's what we're doing.
Hey, thank you. I'm going to go first, and I'm going to hand over to Steve because I want him to talk about more things than this. So I'm Rosie. So I used to be called Rosie Hunnam. I got married, changed my name, hence the name change. I work for NUS UK. So I work across Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland and England. And I do lots of different things to do with student opportunities and union development. So anything to do with kind of clubs and societies and student media and student volunteering. I look after that. I work quite closely with Richard Brooks, who is the Vice President for Union Development for NUS UK. But conveniently, I live in Cardiff, so and I used to work at the University Students' Union, so I have a little bit of a vested interest in making sure Wales have lots of support. And so one of my projects at NUS is Student Volunteering Week, and we know that last year there weren't many, there wasn't really much happening in Wales for Student Volunteering Week, and so I've taken it on as a bit of a mission to help you to do some more stuff for SVW. I know that Steve is very interested in that too. So can you obviously tell them who you are, but then can you tell them about how it fits in with the scheme of work and the survey bits and bobs?
Yeah, sure, of course. Thanks, Rosie. So hi, I'm Steve Poole. I'm the NUS Wales Director. I've been here for 9 months now, but it's my 10th year at NUS overall. I used to work with Rosie actually last year, my last role, so worked on this with Rosie from an NUS UK perspective. And I kind of bring that experience with me, I suppose, and as Rosie said, trying to make this a really big thing in Wales this year. In terms of the scheme of work, some of you, or hopefully all of you, will be familiar with the approach we're trying to take this year. If you're not, then I suggest your officers or your chief executive. Hopefully NUS Wales has produced one document that outlines the work we do nationally. We'll try and really generate a sense of relationship and connectivity with local issues. We've personalised that this year, so every students' union gets a scheme of work that reflects your local priorities with the work that we're doing nationally, so we can make sure everything's relevant to you. And I'm currently in the middle of touring students' unions at the moment to find out what you're working on locally and how that feeds in the national agenda. And quite a few of you have already said that Student Volunteering Week is something that you're keen to keep on with. After that personalised approach is about us really feeling like we are a collective movement in Wales again. From experience of working in Wales from a UK perspective, I think, and including US Wales in this too, we've quite internally faced for various reasons and for justifiable reasons too. And this week in particular is one of those activities where we can really demonstrate the value of students to Wales as a collective movement. So that's kind of where I'm coming at from this, and it fits in team of work and a pledge that we recently submitted to Step Up to Serve around youth engagement and the value that students' unions can bring locally to support young people, especially in light of the youth services. And I'll stop talking now. I hope that helps.
Okay. questions on anything that anyone has just said? So on who people are or anything that I've just said. Makes sense?
Yep.
Specialised plan. Volunteering. Is there like an ideal time as to when they'll be issued, or?
So where they are now, in terms of time frame, we launched them at Italon back in August, so Students' Union has got them. TSD is actually one of the last two unions I need to see. I've seen 6 out of the HE so far. And what I'm doing those visits is literally going through each of the 8 enabling strategies. So we've got 8 strategies in the document that capture all of where NUS Wales spends its resource and time, and that's based on policy, things like translation unit and growing that, Wales, which is an externally funded project. So it's basically saying to Students' Unions, this is where we focus our time and resource. And I'm going around unions to create a list under each of those 8 strategies that says what you're doing in each of those areas, if anything. So some unions have said, oh, doing anything around the curriculum this year. Okay, that's fine. Let's focus on the things you are doing that fit in with that. I'm due to come to TSD and we'll be looking at any activities you do around this, for example, under the engagement student opportunity strategy, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Any questions? No. Okay. Let's go on to a few kind of facts about this, about what's coming up. So Student Volunteering Week's the 22nd to the 28th of Feb next year, so 2016. So I'll put it in the diaries now. Oh, good. Rachel from Cardiff's just managed to join us. Hi, Rachel. I'm just struggling to get in. So welcome. We'll get your Mac working. Just say hi and then you can introduce yourself. So 22nd to 28th of February. Where date came from, we have done it in February every year. This is actually the 15th year that Student Volunteering Week has happened, and it's been run by NUS and Student Hubs for a few years. That date is usually when it happens, but at the end of 2015 we surveyed all of the people who had done things to ask when was the best time, and that seemed to be the best time. So, all that's perfect for everybody. Hopefully it will be a useful week for you. I think Rachel's joined us.
From our point of view, Rosie.
Yep.
From our point of view, it absolutely coincides with elections week,
Okay.
which is just something to get really only because not that it's going to impede us in doing anything in terms of volunteering, but certainly in terms of any kind of backroom support from marketing, communications, etc. They kind of said it's the worst worst possible time actually that we could have tried to do anything.
To come in on that as well, I should say that within NUS Wales at the moment we're very set up to kind of do the commercial and the comms side of things. So if you have activities planned, get them over to us, and one of the things we can absolutely do is, social media and other forms, your messages out there, so we can fill and support any gaps in capacity you might have around that.
That's brilliant, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so that's when it is. We've got over 70 already signed up, and I'll talk to you a bit more about the sign-up process in a minute. The 2 key themes for this year are collaboration and celebration. So what it means in reality is collaboration. We haven't necessarily decided for you what that looks like, but the ideas that we've got on that you collaborate internally within your student union. So it might be that you get sports and societies working together with your student fundraisers and with your volunteering department, or it might be that you get your institution involved and get them to do things with the student union, or it could be that you go out to the local community and you do some collaborative volunteering projects with local business or local community partners. I'm specifically saying this is a bit of a call to all of you as your HE student unions. We'd really love for you to collaborate with your local or nearest FE union and be able to help them to do some stuff for Student Volunteering Week. I'm going to tell you exactly how to do that and who you should work with, but just something to bear in mind as an idea. I'm sure they'd really appreciate that. celebration. We envisage this to look like talking about all of the amazing stuff that student volunteers already do, and also talking about the diversity of student volunteering. So talking about it not just being students going out and doing litter picks and that kind of thing, but also students volunteering on Nightline and students doing taking leadership roles and leading clubs and societies. So really celebrating the diversity, can't get words out today, in student volunteering. So those 2 key things, and they're based on feedback from last year's Student Volunteering Week. Any questions?
No?
Thoughts?
No.
That's fine, that's good.
Actually, if we have FE colleges within the institution, we can partner with them. They don't have to be outside of the institution.
Yeah, sure, please do that, yeah.
Kind of work with.
Yeah, as I said, we're not going to prescribe to you who you should collaborate with. It just came out as a really strong theme from the feedback last year that volunteering teams who were involved last year would really like this to be a priority, because it's something that you all would like to do, but maybe need an excuse to do it. So that's why it came out. So by all means, you can decide who you want to collaborate with. Part of collaborating is having this chat today, and you two will talk to each other as well. So when we get down to the ideas part of this session, hopefully you guys can have a bit of a chat about ideas for Wales. So really just a little bit of an overview about what happened last year. There were 86 colleges and universities involved. 34% of them were new, so they hadn't done anything for Student Volunteering Week before. There were around 492 events, which had about 8,000 volunteers involved. We think more than that because that's actually based on the feedback, and not everybody completed the feedback forms. So that's quite a lot of people, which is excellent. 55% of the students that attended events during Student Volunteering Week were new to Student Volunteering Week, were new to student volunteering. So I think that's quite a nice percentage if you need to get people on board and show why it would be useful to Student Volunteering Week. It definitely increases awareness of volunteering for those new people. And finally, for those people that ran projects during Student Volunteering Week, they noted a 62% increase in overall volunteering participation 3 weeks after Student Volunteering Week. So they saw that they'd actually had more people staying on and doing volunteering afterwards. Which is okay, so how can you get involved? The first registering, which sounds really simple, but it's actually crucial. And a couple of you I know already have, which is great. It's really easy. We don't spam you. It's basically so that NUS and student hubs know that you're interested in doing something, so that we've got the correct contact details for you, and it means that we can send you our fortnightly newsletter. And if you get a fortnightly newsletter, then you're going to be getting up-to-date information about what's going on, any opportunities for you, how to get involved with some of the stuff I'm going to talk about in a minute. So I urge you to register. If you find that you register and then actually things happen that mean you can't do something for Student Volunteering Week, that's okay, and we're not going to ring up and shout at you. I might ring you up to see if you need any help, but it's not making you're not necessarily committing to do something specific just by registering or you're showing an interest. So that's step 1. Step 2, we need a t-shirt to design the Student Volunteering Week t-shirt. There's a little picture at the bottom to show you last year's. Unfortunately, the deadline's next week, so you haven't got a lot of time to promote this. And that's because we've mostly been focusing this on universities and colleges that have a specific arts focus, because we think that's where students are going to mostly find this interesting. And actually this isn't one of the primary focuses of Student Volunteering Week. This was just something that we had to do because we thought actually a designer in the NUS office designing this logo. It should be a student designing the logo. So if that's something that you think your students will be interested in, the Student Volunteering Week Twitter account's already been tweeting about it. You can kind of retweet that and send that to your students, or there's information about it on the Student Volunteering Week website. You can share that. We've got till the 20th of November. Any questions about the T-shirt comps? Yes?
Elaborate / simple need to be.
There's really specific guidelines on the website. It has to be match 3 colours and in the Student Volunteering Week colours. And there's specific kind of size guidelines that are outlined on the page. But I think that's in terms of specifics. Any
question. Obviously, last year we worked with you to look at the logo and excuse me, look at the logo and see how it could be used bilingually. And I think we managed to get a Welsh version of the logo and everything. That's fantastic. For institutions in Wales, I know the answer to this is going to be yes. But about getting T-shirts in a bilingual for us. And how will this design competition, how will that kind of include Welsh design or Welsh text in that design? Will we be able to amend it for
so as soon as we've seen the designs, one of the things that we're going to be considering in the judging process will be how well it translates. And as soon as we've got a winning design, I work with the translation team here to make sure that it fits and is good and it fits all the policies and everything like that. And just something, because we did it last year for the first time, this year it's going to be so much easier to get that done. And also it's very much on the radar of NUS Wales this year, so I know that Steve will help to make sure that happens.
That's fantastic.
Boot camps. So last year, this time we did a bit of a trial run of boot camp with real live students. So we got 60 or 70 students to go to City Hall in London and basically gave them some training about how they might run Student Volunteering Week on their campus. And because so successful, we've now expanded the boot camp programme. So there's now 5 boot camps. The next one to Wales is Bristol and probably North Wales is Manchester. We've tried to pick the location so that they're within about 2 hours from most places, but obviously it's always difficult to get perfect locations. Oh yeah, is Birmingham nearest to Adler? Oh okay, of course, because yeah. Well, there you go. So we've got those 5 dates on the calendar. It's £6 per student to attend. It's up to you if you want to send students whether you subsidise that or not. I'm hoping that it's a good enough day that they might want to even pay for it themselves. But we understand that actually some of them will be able to do that. So hopefully you'll be able to get some subsidy either from the university or from your own pots. The content is going to be really exciting. We're going to have 2 inspiring speakers who are from the sector, so they're from the voluntary sector, the charity sector, or they might be inspiring like local small business or social enterprise. Now we're just confirming those at the moment. So here at the London one, we had someone from The Big Issue, we had someone from a homelessness charity, and they did some really great talks. And then there's going to be 3 workshop sessions focusing on creative campaigning, and we're going to do a bit of craftivism with them, so get them to do a craft campaign that will be able to get people thinking about student volunteering. We've got some about communication and publicity and how they can turn big ideas into specific actions. So they're shaping up to be a really exciting event. Any questions about those?
No.
How long are they? Are they a full day or a half day?
They're a half day, so I think we're finalising the exact timings on Wednesday, but where we're at the moment is they'll be starting at about 12:30 and finishing at about 4:30.
You can travel to and from in the same day then?
Oh yeah, I hope so. Yeah. Unless you are having to go to one that's on the other side of the country because you can't make one nearer to you, but you should be able to, yeah. And they're in fairly accessible locations in terms of train stations, so they should be able to walk or get a really short taxi to wherever the venue is. Then? No. Good. Last kind of bit of information from me, and then we'll have a bit of a chat. So the last thing that's a big thing that you can get involved with is nominating some of your students for Student Volunteer of the Year. The deadline's the 11th of December. On the screen you can see that the three things we're looking for from them are commitment, leadership and impact. Are kind of quite big buzzwords, but the website there, we've broken down into more specific things we're looking for. And we just released a blog post which explains, it's kind of 10 tips for people writing applications that talks through basically some of the things that weren't so great about some of the applications last year, and also some of the things that were really good about the winning applications last year. So I hope that will help you when you're writing. If you write them yourself, a student can nominate each other or they can nominate themselves. We're not picky. Or if you work with a local charity or another voluntary organisation, you can tell them to nominate students as well. And that actually, we had quite a few from different charities last year, which was really exciting. They win £1,000 for their cause, and their cause might be your volunteering centre. It's to them what they spend that money on. I mean, they can't go on a shopping spree and buy loads of clothes, but as long as it's for a charitable cause or a voluntary cause, then we know what they spend it on. That's really exciting, and we will long list down to 10 students before Christmas. And to Christmas on the 11th of January, we've got a judging panel coming together. We've got someone from CIPD, one of the Richard, the Vice President from NUS, is on the panel. Somebody from people from the voluntary sector, so it's quite a high-profile judging panel. A shortlist down to 5, and then all 5 of those students will be invited to the celebration event in London on the 22nd of February, so let's say of Student Volunteering Week, and we pay for their travel, so that doesn't matter if they're having to come from where you are, we'll pay for it, and we'll tell them on the day whether they've won the award, and lots of press and comms around that as well, so it's really nice. But we also, for every student that gets a nomination, we send them an email from Student Volunteering Week telling them that they've been nominated and that they'd be brilliant. So even if you wanted to nominate your kind of 5 top volunteers, they would get a bit of a thank you from us nationally, which is really nice. So we encourage you to nominate as many people as you think deserve it. It's not, you don't have to just pick one who is your favourite volunteer. Questions about that?
No.
Okay. So, step 5 I've written is planning your activity. And on the screen I've put 5 ideas of things you could do. So I'll just talk you through them, and then I'd like it if we could just have a chat between you about some of your ideas that you've got and how you can run nationally. So last year, some teams did something every day and they themed that, so they might have done one day on sustainability, one day on homelessness, one day on mental health, that kind of thing. Or they focused on one cause over the whole week, so they might have focused just on mental health for the whole of Student Volunteering Week, and then they did lots of volunteering around that. A lot of teams just did 1 or 2 one-off projects, so quite big things that require a lot of student volunteers that you can build a lot of momentum over the week for that. People just did some stuff on social media, and that's absolutely fine. Not saying you have to do loads and loads of stuff, and certainly nationally we're doing a lot of social media work, so like Instagram, Twitter, there'll be lots of buzz around that. Saying thank you, that's what a lot of the charities focus on. So a lot of the charities that sign up for Student Volunteering Week just as an opportunity to say thank you to their student volunteers, whether that's writing them a letter or inviting them to a party to say thanks or giving something from the charity. That's a nice thing to do. and then collaborating with others. We saw a rise in this last year, and that's why it's a theme for this year. So they're just some ideas for you. Does someone want to start with just saying if they've got any ideas at the moment, or if they want to chat with people in the room about something thinking about?
I'd add maybe that obviously most of us have probably got quite a few student activities, and those might be based or something along those lines, and they could maybe do little skits or things to get involved. On our already volunteering almost students to provide more themed maybe throughout the week.
Yeah. Has anybody done anything like that before?
So I ran an event here a few years back, and we brought in quite a few of the societies. I mean, the Singing Society did a little short concert of themed songs on the idea of mindfulness and stuff. And we've had a few of them come in when we've done amnesty projects and things. So we've done it here before, but I don't know whether it's something that happens on other campuses.
Yeah. Any thoughts on that, anyone? Rachel from Cardiff's just written in the chat because she can't use her mic, so she's using that to talk. They're planning on doing each of the projects to do something different during the week, specific activities, and planning on doing one or two one-off events. But as mentioned, it falls during elections at Cardiff, so that sounds like loads of really good stuff.
I have a thought.
Yeah.
I don't know, it might be worth us considering whether there's something we could do jointly. I had a chat with Steve on the phone yesterday, and one of the things I think would be really great to see during Student Volunteering Week is a visit to the centres, if that's at all possible. It would be a really nice idea to see if we could get students from across Wales really that are involved in student volunteering to take part in something like that. I mean, I think it will take a lot of planning. It might be worth us considering at this stage actually collaboratively working together to draw attention to Student Volunteering Week in Wales. Student Volunteering Week, centrally in the UK, does include sort of visits to Parliament, and I think it would be really good if we could look at including the Welsh Assembly Government or along those lines. I don't know if everybody else, what everybody else thinks of that.
That'd be a great idea.
No, that's really interesting, actually. I don't know, would we put a goal to it? Would there be an aim that the event was trying to signify, or would it just be volunteering in general?
It would be that the event would be trying to raise awareness, obviously, of Student Volunteering Week outside of the education sector. I think the student volunteering as a field or as a sector in Wales it has a massive impact, and I think what we do. So I think I would see it as a kind of celebration of what we do, but also trying to raise awareness of the movement in Wales with the Education Minister and others in Cardiff that find big decisions when it comes to education, all kinds of things like that, really.
And there's a big bit the strand around student opportunities and youth engagement. We really want to go hard on the message externally to society in Wales around not just being kind of HE tourists, as it were, popping in, doing that, and then popping back over the border or wherever it is. And the title of it is actually Students as Leaders, Students as People, and it will really help us demonstrate the value students bring to Wales during their time here.
Yeah.
Really cool idea.
Well, I think I'm happy to kind of start looking into that. I have already made contact with the Welsh Government. I'm just waiting really to identify who are the best people to speak to about making something like that happen. But I think we're all very familiar with how other campaigns, be them charitable fundraising campaigns or awareness campaigns of all descriptions, outside of the education sector, can always draw attention to their movement by sort of visiting Cardiff or meeting with, ministers to discuss, out of what they do and their motivations behind what they do. And I think that something like that would be incredibly powerful. So I'd be happy to take the lead on that if everybody's happy, and see if we can work together to identify before February certain students that we feel would be representative of our organisations and their work.
Yeah, it'd be brilliant.
Yeah.
Really, so just to keep things simple, if Helen takes the lead on that, and then just sends over your ideas and plans of what you want to do, and then we can just fire straight back to what we can do to make those a reality.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it sounds really exciting. It's a really good thing, especially as you're on the committee for the Student Volunteering Network. Because that means that you can join the dots between that and what's going on in Wales as well.
Yeah.
I hope so.
I think you can. That's a really nice thing for us to all work together on as well.
Yes, I think there's definitely, I mean, we'll all be doing, by taking part in SCW, we'll all be doing our bit to raise awareness and the impact. But from talks that we had some time ago, Rosie, I think we all agreed that I think we're very uniquely placed in Wales, really, we should really capitalise on the fact that it isn't that difficult for us all to come together. There are a lot fewer of us in terms of institutions and members of staff. So I think, if we could work on sort of one collaboration, even if it doesn't have, huge, point to it, I think that it will still have an impact in raising awareness. So I think it can only be positive in the long run.
Yeah.
Really good idea, actually. I like that.
Well, it sounds like everyone's on board with that. Good. Great. Does anyone have anything else they want to chat in terms of specific ideas, either to ask us or to each other?
Question again. Emily, so by registering and explaining what we're doing to take part in SCW, I know that information is accessible through the broader SCW, website and things like that. Is there anything maybe, perhaps not for this year, but for future years, where institutions in Wales can see what events are taking place within Wales?
I think we can probably do that now, to be honest, because last year we had an activity tracker on the website, and you could click on the day of the week and see what was happening for SCW across the UK. But we're talking in our meeting, in my meeting with Student Hubs last week, we were talking about whether we could do so that you click on a different area in the country and then see what was going on. So if that's something you guys think is important, I can say that we should definitely do that. Actually, now we've got the technological capability to do the filtering by day, actually filtering by location is not that hard.
Great. I think that's really useful to be able to see what everybody else is doing, and also to get ideas from others, and to share ideas. Yeah.
And I mean, it relies on you all uploading your events onto the website. Apart from that, there's very little work actually, and it's quite a simple form, so it shouldn't take too long either. Does anybody have anything else on that kind of stuff that would be useful from us as a national team?
Perhaps, is it possible to share emails between us all? Could you send a list of everyone's emails so that we could kind of talk to each other about maybe project ideas or development?
If everyone's happy with that, that's fine with me.
Yeah, no, happy to share. I was thinking. It would be good to keep in contact actually, because if we're thinking of maybe one day we're having actually a similar theme in the week, would it not be wise maybe to pick the same day to do it on?
Yes.
And that there's more of almost a national movement then on that day for that theme. be one way to kind of capitalise on the numbers as well.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, if I share your email addresses after this, so that you guys can carry on chatting.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm happy to stay in that loop, even if you're messaging each other all the time. Right. Yeah, and Steve is, so we can kind of spot things where we might be able to help.
Excellent.
Bill, for that, if you wanted to do a national one, would it make sense to do it on the third day of volunteering week? Because then we're all doing the same things and the volunteering week's kicking off. And here's what we're doing individually for the rest of the week, but we're all doing the launch on the same day.
SW launch, how interesting.
Wales.
Launch is SVW.
And also, we'll be doing a lot of press work on that day to launch it, so it will tie in.
Yeah,
do something like that.
Visibility as well.
Yeah. Lots of good ideas. Anyone to chat about while we're together?
Say thank you point.
Yeah.
It was mentioned that as Wales will come together the same day in the same place, do a visit or something, it'd possibly be nice if at the end of to do that on the last day at the end of the week, and we could do some sort of like thank you, like localist awards to each one. There's obviously a Student Volunteer of the Year award, but then we could have like little certificates or something, or participation awards and things like that.
Yeah.
And maybe, sorry, I was just going to say, leading on from actually, it's great that there's a student, a singular student volunteer award, because it's actually UK-wide, but as a kind of nation in our own right, wouldn't it be fab if we could have a Welsh student volunteer of the award?
That's exactly what I was going to say. I can agree more. I think that definitely needs to happen. It might be very short now for us to work towards volunteering week 2016, but certainly for 2017, I think we should be trying to facilitate something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds cool. Okay. Any other ideas people have got, or things they're thinking about doing for your locally that you'd like other people's opinions on?
I know you've mentioned FE colleges.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I'm in a unique position here, but of quite a small campus, we have a local school nearby. Would there be anything against bringing local schools as well, or doing projects with schools, even on their? I think I've just remembered we mentioned schools. Yes, we did.
I'm glad you said that. It's very reassuring. So one of our long-term strategies, I'd suggest, at Wales, is looking at how we develop our talent of student officers coming through. One way we might do that is through helping unions to link up a better way with their schools, as you suggest. In a way, like it's about exposing young people to what unions are about. So when they arrive at FB&H, it's not just a bar or a US card. They've actually had some experience based on interacting with SUs at a younger age. Yeah. So I think it's a brilliant idea. The only thing we just need to be mindful of is it's probably about working with the school, so getting them to organise some kind of activity where they come with you. Otherwise, you've got all sorts of checks and balances you'll need to make sure you're inviting them to come as part of your delegation, if that makes sense.
No, I'm with you on that. There's no room for things. We can piggyback off of their admin then, I think, really, on that one.
Definitely. And recently, and you just joined Quivers as well, which is Council for Voluntary Youth Services in Wales. Probably that acronym wrong then, actually. But part of that was about looking at the engagement side. So if we're going to be doing this event, we circulate that out, which will hit pretty much every youth organisation in the country, whether that's local or national. Say we're doing it, so we can actually generate quite a big stir to get involved as well.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I'm really excited. You're enthusiastic, which makes me so happy. Thoughts?
I think like a lot of the progress will be made in this wonderful group email that we're going to set up.
Yeah.
Especially once we can have some time to discuss more lives, what people might like to do. But like if that then links in with our goals on other university campuses, there's no way we can't make it more national.
Oh, absolutely. And there was interest from Aberystwyth and Glyndŵr as well to join us today, but I think Aber struggled with the check.
You appeared.
Yeah, he did.
Where's he gone?
I don't know where he went, but Aber just couldn't. Aber couldn't get in, and Glyndŵr couldn't come today. But so they're definitely interested. So by all means, like, don't treat this as an exclusive group. We can invite people wherever needed, and also if it's helpful to you, it doesn't have to just be one person from your team. That's fine if you need more hands on deck. And also, if you want to use this technology again, you can use this form just as a meeting, so you don't have to have slides and stuff. So we can facilitate that if it's a helpful platform for us to use.
It's worthwhile actually saying that maybe towards the end of mid-December kind of time, we say we'll meet again and actually discuss where we've got to or anything like that to kind of galvanise it in this wonderful technology.
That's
Do you agree that might be a group email we can set up at a date we might aim to work towards to have some sort of plan together at least?
good idea.
To send Doodle round to all of you to arrange a date for you to meet again. When did you meet? At the end of this term, so like mid-December?
Yeah, mid-December kind of time, I think, would be ideal.
Okay, would you like me to do that? To set up a Doodle? Has everybody used Doodle before?
Yeah.
Oh, it's jazzy. It's basically, you put all the dates in and then you choose which dates and times you're available, and then it gives me 1 or 2 dates that are good for everybody. So I'll do that as an action from today. When I do that, I can introduce you all to each other as well.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Well, I'm conscious that we're really out of time. I've not got any other kind of planned content apart from on the screen. I just wanted to give you all of the Student Volunteering Week contact details. The email address is the generic kind of inbox for SVW. So by all means, email that if you've got a general query. But I think if it's something specific about this project, email me, as we work with Student Hub on Student Volunteering Week. So we run this in partnership with them. But I'm leading, and NUS is leading on the nation's support, so Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland. So it will be me that kind of helps you with this project. That doesn't mean that Student Hubs don't care, they just do lots of the other bits of the project. So yeah, that email address on screen is for like general inquiries, or if you wanted to direct like students to an email inbox, that would be the one to give them. And we've got Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and then the website.
Is there a chance for us to get a copy of this PowerPoint or the recording of the meeting?
You can have both.
That'd be brilliant.
So I'll send you the slides now. I'll email you now after this meeting. The recording takes a few hours to render or something, I don't know. Then we put it up on NUS's YouTube channel. But once I've got the link, I will send you all the links so you can pass it round, or watch again if you want to listen to yourself talking. It's quite fun. I get really awkward when I listen again.
Good.
That's it for me, I think, unless there's anything else you all kind of want to discuss.
Yeah, can I talk very briefly about the Student Volunteering Network, Rosie, and our plans in Wales?
Yeah.
While we're all together. So I didn't want to interrupt the flow of your presentation, but something that I think it seems to be quite evident, some of the things that you said, Toby, about being able to come back together and talk about our plans for Student Volunteering Week. I mentioned I this year have joined the Student Volunteering Network. Are you all members of the Student Volunteering Network at all? Are you familiar with what it is?
I'm upset that I'm not familiar, to be honest. No, I'm not. Go ahead.
Okay, what about yourself?
Yeah, no, I mean, I've heard of it, but I'm not particularly up to speed on it, no.
Okay, brilliant. Well, I'll give you the very, very shortened version of what it is. The Student Volunteering Network, or SVN as we refer to it, is a network of student volunteering practitioners really in the UK. They're very active. They have quite a strong voice in the sector. At the moment, we've been going through a little bit of a flux, and we're reforming our committee in London in November with the support of NUS. We're meeting at NUS's offices. I've been involved with them since I've been involved in student volunteering. Basically, you can sign up to, if you just Google SVN or Student Volunteering Network, you can sign up to a mailing list, and it's really, if you are on a daily basis working with students, so in student activities surrounding volunteering, it can be a very good resource because you can email questions that will then be seen perhaps by everybody else in the network. So you have a question about an organisation who's approached you wanting to work with volunteers, or a volunteering organisation, or just a general question about anything from DS checks to proper procedures in terms of volunteering or volunteering policy. It's a really, really good source of information, and it's a very urgent time for them at the moment as well, because we're looking also at developing online resources for volunteering departments. Provide a really central space for people to learn more and to help to look at examples of best practice. In Wales, we have in the past had a regional network of the Student Volunteering Network broadly, and we have met on many occasions from Bangor, Aberystwyth, traditionally Bangor, Aberystwyth, Cardiff, Glyndŵr, and Swansea universities, those with dedicated departments for volunteering. But everybody is welcome and has been welcome. Over the past few years, it's not really been very active. I think the geography in Wales doesn't really lend itself well to regular meetings happening in person, and of course there is the cost involved in that as well. In the last few years, things have definitely come on, and as we are now sitting at our computers miles and miles away from each other and having a very successful meeting, I would very much like to re-establish the network in Wales and re-establish the connection really between Wales and England in the broader sense. So myself, I've been working and talking to Rosie and Steve about this recently and actually for some time now. So what I would like to do, really, following on from what you said, Toby, about getting everybody's email addresses, I would really like to go forward and start coordinating the mass communication or joining together the dots across was really between others who are working with student volunteers, and to try and take that forward where we can start meeting on a regular basis, and whether that's over the computer or physically in person, so that we can achieve things like over volunteering week or anything and everything really, sharing best practice and policy and procedure that is unique to us here in Wales, because we have because education is devolved to the Welsh Government. So I think I don't know what your feelings are on that, or whether you would be supportive of that, but that is something we very, very much like to do.
Definitely.
Questions?
That's really helpful. My only concern would be that after this year, the volunteering side of my role is going to move to a student that will be refreshed each year.
Yeah.
And so would they still be able to benefit to the same degree through this? Would it be plausible for them to be reintroduced to it almost each year?
Oh, absolutely.
For them just to stick to the mailing list?
I think would consist of, I mean, there's the mailing list that we have for Student Volunteer Network, which I think, you know, anybody should join anyway. What we used to have is we would have our own email list just to be able to to make contact with practitioners and those coming into contact with student volunteers just in Wales. So, you know, that's something else I would like to establish. I mean, really, because of the nature of, you know, working within students' unions and the transient nature, if you like, of officers coming in and perhaps only being with us for a year or 2 years, I think any network like this would have to be able to adapt and work under those conditions, and would welcome new people at any point, and would, you know, I've been more than happy, and that's how I've seen it work.
I'd probably just add that it'd be much more beneficial as well for those that are transient, as you say, simply to top on any handover given to them at the end of the year. There's a support network there just to re-clarify or information to those that might be slightly less assured of their decisions, which would be quite nice, actually.
Yeah, I think that fits into the broader sense of the student volunteering network as well. And if our plans actually come off in the next sort of 12 months, is that we will have a really good online resource. So anybody joining the network at any point will have access to the information that they need to carry on that work. Certainly in Wales as well, you know, something that I should add as well, when I mentioned practitioners, I think that's just a term I use to describe anybody working within higher education student volunteering, but, you know, officers as well, that's incredibly important that we have their representation in any kind of network like that as well. So I would expect, you know, student unions in particular to be able to communicate that to their officers, that there is a place for them, there's a network for them.
No, I agree with you on that.
I shall hopefully be in touch with you all at some point between now and Christmas, hopefully, and indeed everybody else working in similar departments in the rest of I think we will definitely with higher education institutions, but Student Volunteering Network is a network of people working in further education colleges as well. So I think that's probably important to add at that point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Helen, that was so helpful. I will email you all straight away. I'll go back to my desk and do it now, just to introduce you to each other. So don't get an email within the next hour or so, then email me. I'll put my emails in the chat bar in case you don't already have it. I'll send the slides round and I'll introduce you to each other via email now. And then when we've got and I'll send a doodle with that as well for a December online web meeting. And Helen and I are meeting on the 23rd when Helen and the team from the Student Volunteering Network to the NUS office to do their planning. And so I'm sure Helen will update you after that meeting as well. I just wanted to say a really big thank you to all of you. I'm really pleased that you're all really keen, and we can do some really good stuff in Wales. So thanks so much for taking the time out to do this today.
Thank you as well, Rosa.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for bringing Wales as such.
Right, I'm going to stop recording now. We've been recorded, so that's exciting.